The Watership Down podcast is intended for listeners who are familiar with the plot. There will be spoilers. This episode is scripted, narrated, recorded and edited by Newell Fisher. Hello, and welcome to the Watership Down podcast episode 178, in which we will be looking at the second 10-minute segment of the second episode of the 2018 Netflix version of Watership Down. This episode was recorded on the 26th of July 2024, and if I've got my dates right, on the day it is published we will be on holiday in Cornwall, our first proper breakaway in 7 years. Just to give a sense of timescale, we are on course to complete going through the Netflix series on the week before Halloween, which should be episode 191. After that, watch this space. I will update you when plans are firmly in place. So then, as I said a bit prematurely last week, let's go to the farm. Netflix miniseries Episode 2 Part 2 The Raid. Part 2 of Episode 2, The Raid, runs from 9 minutes to 19 minutes 55, and the reverse timings are 40 minutes 45 to 29 minutes 50. The equivalent chapters from the book are chapters 24 and 25, Nuthanger Farm and The Raid, as well as elements of chapter 19, Fear in the Dark, and 23, Kihar. We are at the gate of Nuthanger Farm. We see the farmhouse and a conservatory nearby. The camera tracks down to Hazel, Fiver and Bigwig arriving along a ditch that runs along a brick wall. As they scan the farmyard, Hazel tells them that they leave immediately if there is any sign of humans. Then they run to the far side of the conservatory, where a dog lies fitfully sleeping in a kennel. As they creep past it, Fiver sees the rope attaching the dog to the kennel. He says, "Rope." Is it reminding him of a past vision, or one that he is yet to have? Bigwig snaps him out of it, and he joins the others in a farm building filled with ploughs and other meaningless objects to a rabbit. Passing under these, they come to the hutches that Hazel saw before, and then they startle as they hear human voices. The farmer and his wife are arguing in the house about Lucy's behaviour in school. Hazel tells Bigwig to keep watch, but then he and Fiver approach the hutches, and Hazel climbs up the drawers of some old furniture the hutches stand on. He says hello at the lower hutch. Nothing. Then he tries the upper one, and Clover emerges from behind the hutch door. They introduce themselves, and Clover says she knew it wasn't a dream when she saw him. She is glad to learn that they are rabbits that live under the sky. Hazel says they've come to break them free. 3 more does are revealed. They don't look sure about any of this, but Clover has decided. She tells Hazel he will need to be quick. The humans are inside but might come outside to gather wood. Hazel tells Slaley to stay sharp. Bigwig says he's always sharp. Clover says the hutch door is held in place by 2 straps. Hazel and Fiver get to work on those. They are interrupted by a smashing sound as Tom, the farmer, is shouted at for leaving his wife's grandmother's plate somewhere he shouldn't have. As the argument subsides, Bigwig says to carry on. Clover strikes up a conversation with Bigwig. Bad idea. We see something pass through a nearby cat flap. Cut to Watership Down, where Holly is sitting sadly by himself by the rock the others first sat on as they arrived on the down. Blackberry sees him and tries to cheer him up, but Holly says he should have gone to Nuthanger as well. He is feeling guilty about what he did at Sandalford. As Blackberry tries to reassure him, we see Kihar limbering up in the background. He interrupts their serious conversation by flying right over them, crying, "See you later, bunnies, bye-bye." You get the feeling that this Kihar will not be coming back. Gratitude is not his greatest quality. He flies over the landscape, clearly relieved to be free of his lapine carers, through Caesar's Belt, the long belt of trees to the south of Watership Down, and it is not long before he is flying over a train track. But this is not a normal train track. It leads to an old derelict factory with 2 large chimneys. Among the ruins there appear to be a lot of rabbits feeding. As he flies over this indifferently, he impersonates Hazel, saying their warren needs does. Below him, among the ruins, we also just about see a large rabbit strike a smaller one who falls to the ground. But Keehar couldn't care less. As he flies on, his injured right wing begins to hurt again. Cursing the cat that injured him, he is forced to turn back for Watership Down, where he knows help is available. He just makes it, crash landing by Holly and Blackberry, who walk away from him. Keehar walks after them, desperately trying to make out that he changed his mind. He tells them there is a warren to the east that has a load of does, which is strange because the site of Ephrathah actually lies to the south of Watership Down, as does Caesar's Belt. As Keehar demands his payment for this information, Holly looks to the, well, I'm still saying south. In the distance he can see the two chimneys. Not that there's any reason why that should be where the site of the warren. Bluebell asks if Keehar said something about does. Blackberry, nominally the voice of reason, says he hopes he's not thinking what he very obviously is, but Holly is also clearly thinking it as well, as he says they should leave for the new warren at first light. And this is where the premise of this whole episode begins. Putting it simply, in order to make for a more interesting story for a modern Netflix audience, the relatively competent way in which the warren on Watership Down is run in the book is replaced by what is frankly a complete shambles. Hazel has taken Bigwig and Fiver off to the farm to get does, despite his better judgment in this version. And now Holly, without any discussion with his chief rabbit, is about to take two other members of the warren with him on a mission to an unknown warren that he knows nothing about. Because, remember, in this version he has no idea that the word Ephrathah and this other warren are linked. In doing so, they will leave two bucks who have already been fighting with the doe they have been fighting over. Compared to this, Hazel's impulsive scouting out of Nuthanger Farm in the book is positively competent. Keehar, having told Holly about the new warren, retreats to his guano-splattered scrape, saying does are all these rabbits think about and demanding more food. This Keehar really isn't very pleasant. So far. Meanwhile, at Nuthanger Farm, Bigwig continues to keep watch as Hazel and Fiver continue to try to free the hutch does. Unfortunately, he's looking in the wrong direction as we see a ginger cat approach slowly from his right along a line of cover. For effect, the cat is growling. In reality, a hunting cat would be completely silent at this point. Bigwig, to his credit, looks to his right. Hazel and Fiver are still trying to chew through the leather straps which are true to the book, in which Bigwig, Blackberry, Speedwell and Dandelion chew through them. Clover says she has dreamed of this day. Somehow, despite presumably always having been a hutch rabbit, she has been aware that she is unable to see the sky and wants out. Hazel promises her she will, and asks why the humans keep them in this hutch. Clover says she thinks that the humans think they are being kind to them. She says humans aren't completely bad. The cat is getting closer. Clover says the little girl seems quite nice. The cat has zeroed in on Bigwig. Clover says humans just lack understanding. The cat's eyes narrow. Hazel says he doesn't think he will ever be able to believe better of humans. Fiver interrupts, saying that the strap is too tight to the wood. This is also true to the book. Hazel says to the does to stand away from the door. He uses the same tactic to get to the leather that is used in the book, pushing the door inwards. The cat is creeping towards Bigwig over open ground. Bigwig asks if they are inside yet, and the cat attacks. Clover sees the cat just in time, her first moment of proving her worth, and he just has time to turn. The cat rolls him over violently and has him on his back. However, facing the cat gives him the chance to kick it away and they re-engage, slashing at each other viciously. Clover tells Hazel and Fiver to go and help Bigwig. The cat is getting the better of him, inevitably. However, it then throws him to one side and refocuses on the other two. This is not very realistic. A real cat, having got the better of large prey, would finish it off. Fiver jumps onto an old tractor in panic, and Hazel joins him. They then jump away in different directions to confuse the cat. From the farmhouse we hear the farmer's wife shouting about the blooming cat, when actually it is just doing its job. As Hazel and Fiver join Bigwig, Hazel insists that they have to go. The farmer's wife is shouting at the farmer to get the cat in. In reality, in a farm in the 1960s, I suspect the cat would not be let indoors at all. Their work would lie outside, where they would be expected to find their own food. The cat, having lost its prey, follows after the retreating rabbits for a few moments, then gives up. The first raid has failed. As they approach a wooden fence near the farm, Bigwig is back to having a go at Hazel, saying he could have held the cat off, but Hazel was too squeamish. For once, we have seen for certain that he is completely wrong. Hazel knows it too and reminds Bigwig that he is leader. This draws mockery from Bigwig. He says Hazel has the fear in him. He is going Tharn. Hazel turns on him. He says that if he makes one bad decision like the Freyr did at Sandalford, they will all end up dead. This is a reminder to Bigwig of how his previous Chief Rabbit failed so utterly, and it is intended to sting. For once, Bigwig shuts up. Meanwhile, seemingly having not waited for first light, Holly, Blackberry, who really should know better, and Bluebell have set off for the new warren. To his credit, Bluebell is pointing out that Hazel told them to stay on the down. Blackberry's odd response is that he doesn't know. Bluebell is clearly concerned about Blackberry and asks if he should wait up for him. The irritated response is no. He tells Holly to make sure Blackberry finds somewhere safe to sleep. Bluebell, for all his joking, clearly cares a lot about Blackberry. However, Blackberry tells him to be quiet. He points out that Bluebell has now come so far with them that it is too late for him to go back now. So it seems they left shortly before sunset. Not very sensible, really. Bluebell realises he has gone on an adventure by mistake, but he cheers up, wondering how many does there will be at the new warren. Blackberry tells Bluebell that if he is joining them, he cannot make inappropriate jokes. Bluebell's offence at this is met with a reminder that he can be a liability. Blackberry now ignores Bluebell, as Holly comments that it sounds like the new warren has too many does. Blackberry says they will just say that any who want to leave are welcome to join them. How simple it all sounds. They reach Caesar's Belt, where Holly decides they will stop for the night. Blackberry says he hopes the others will be okay on the down, and asks Bluebell what they said when he told them they were leaving. Bluebell pauses, and says to himself, "Was that my job? Oh dear. This really isn't going very well." Meanwhile, on Watership Down, the 3 remaining rabbits are discussing why the 3 who left did so. Hawkbit helpfully suggests that it is because they saw how Dandelion almost mortally wounded him. Keehar is loudly gorging himself on seemingly foraged bugs. He is not a quiet eater. Strawberry hopes they are safe, but Hawkbit points out that they have been abandoned. It is getting dark and they have no warren, with a new kind of allele on these hills, by which he means the mysterious Efrathans. And Strawberry has a brilliant idea. Why don't they dig the warren? It seems it takes a doe to be this intelligent. Dandelion agrees, saying he will help her while Hawkbit feeds Keehar. When Hawkbit asks why he can't feed him, Dandelion responds sarcastically that he might be afraid he'll mortally wound him. This version of Dandelion, reduced from storyteller to petty squabbler over a doe, is very sad, really. Strawberry intervenes, saying that they are both helping her and not to say anything else or they can't be friends anymore. She is forced to play the social game that females have had to play in male company since time immemorial. Keehar's analysis of this isn't exactly feminist in nature. He tells them, laughing, that they have quite a way with the females and asks how they can resist such charm. As the 3 rabbits at last get to work on the new warren, Keehar realises that no one will be feeding him now. Vainly, he asks about his worms. It seems his easy life on Watership Down may be coming to an end. Comparison with the book. This is where a comparison with the book gets both far more complicated as well as quite important. Strap yourselves in. Taking the digging of the warren on Watership Down first, the simplest storyline in this segment, in the book, the start of the digging of the warren on the edge of the beach hanger takes place in Chapter 19, Fear in the Dark, when Hazel is the first buck to dig, quickly followed by Pipkin. The suggestion of consulting Strawberry follows 2 pages later. The embassy to Ephrafa, involving Holly, Strawberry, Buckthorn and Silver, sets off following Keehar's search for warrens, both of which happen in Chapter 23, Keehar, and this happens with the full knowledge and approval of Hazel. Moving on to Nuthanger Farm, in the book, Hazel decides to scout out Nuthanger Farm with Pipkin in Chapter 24, Nuthanger Farm, after Holly and Co. have set off for Ephrafa. The only partially successful attempt to get the hutch rabbits out takes place in Chapter 25, The Raid. So, In order to compress this part of the story, here the embassy is shown happening at the same time as the raid, which strictly speaking it does in the book, but only being recounted upon their return from Ephrafa. And the extended creation of the Warren on Watership Down, which happens before either expedition in the book, is also portrayed as happening at the same time. Is this all better than the more extended retelling of the book? Absolutely not, in my opinion. But this kind of compressed storytelling is an almost inevitable result of the heavy summarisation of filmmaking aimed at a wider audience. And let's not forget that even the beloved 1978 film is guilty of that. Next time, Hazel asks Fiver for a vision, and Holly and Co. meet the Ephraphans.